Let's talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Let's talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk, let's talk. Conversations that cool. Kitchen talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk, let's talk. Conversations that cool. Let's talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Let's talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about?
Hey, hey, hey!
Hi.
How's everybody?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. And of course, France is.
Listen, I'm working on greater. And I know this show's about to be popping because we got Miss Tatum and Auntie V. Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We for real about to get into it. For real, for real. For real, for real. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Kitchen Talk CTC.
Conversations that cook.
That is what they do. That is what they do. I'm telling you. So last week we did Throwback Thursday. And so the week before that, we were talking with Auntie V about the taxes. And there's so much going on that you can't just really have like one show. So even while we was on the show, we was like, okay, Auntie, when you coming back? Like we planned it already. We planned it already. And then I was thinking, I was like, you know what? Let's get our COVID update too to see what we need to be doing. We are what, 4 years in now with this COVID-19?
4 years. Mm-hmm.
Years, and our lives have changed.
That's
Our
right.
lives
The same.
We'll never be the same again.
never be the same. One good thing is that I don't have to go to the grocery store. I can have everything.
Put the order in online and it's all delivered to your door.
I'm like, okay, yeah, it'll be here.
Oh, God.
I think that might be the only thing that I like that came out.
I didn't go before COVID, so it don't matter.
Me too, hardly. Just because I didn't want to. I was like, no. But it's crazy because I used to be like the Club Walmart. Like I used to work a job where I got off at 1 o'clock in the morning. I hit Walmart. And my mom would be like, I'm gonna need you to stop doing that. I'm like, okay. But
COVID stopped it for you.
oh yeah, well, way before then, but yeah.
Now
I'm like, Walmart app open, da 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 da. All right, thank you. Thank you for bringing it.
I guess that is their 24 hours. Because they close now. They don't stay open
They don't
24
stay
hours.
open. Yeah, the pandemic closed them down. Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't think anything's open 24 hours, but the few gas stations since COVID.
McDonald's.
Oh, McDonald's. Okay.
I think McDonald's is still open 20. It's back open 24 hours. I don't know about Whataburger.
CVS. Whataburger is.
Oh, okay. But no, I think everything else closes.
Shut down.
Everything else closes. Well, then too, they don't have the manpower. If you think about it, like everybody has help wanted signs in their windows.
Yep.
But are they really hiring?
Oh.
Now you're talking about taxes.
No. Are they really hiring? Because I learned a lot of times that they put the signs up, but when people apply, they do not hire people because they want you to feel like they still need folks, but they're not hiring anybody for real.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
It's very, very well.
Yeah, it's a
What
lot
there
of
is
that
was
though.
the new code is what's that called? Ghosting, like job ghosting,
Hmm.
where people are just applying to the positions, but they're not getting any callbacks. So
Mm.
they're
Hmm.
just collecting your data, and then if they
That's
need you
true.
later on down the line, then they'll call you back and say, "Hey,
And in some cases, they're not calling back at all. For a perfect example, in Jacksonville, when IRS got ready to hire, they needed 300 people because when I went in a class, he said that they were going to phase out 5,000 people.
mm,
He needed to replace 5,000 people. Well, we got the perfect example of that here. They did a job hiring of 300 people. The city of Jacksonville probably had 100 applicants, if that many. Nobody came to the job interviews. Nobody truly applied. So you have both sides of it. The McDonald's and stuff have the applications out there, but they're not really hiring people. They taking those three they got, they working the devil out of them, and that's all they doing. Well, then the flip side, the people didn't apply. So Jacksonville had to outsource their other 200 to South Carolina and Georgia.
wow,
So they allowed those people to do all of that stuff online, brought them in one day in the city, pick up your equipment, take your ID bag, take your photo for your ID, and go home. We'll do
Wow.
your training online. So we didn't have nobody to hire. Now they've decided to close the Atlanta Service Center and send it to Puerto Rico.
What? Oh, that's
Wow.
unreal. Oh my gosh.
So you got both sides of the fence. The fast foods just not calling you back like he just said. And then the major companies are just not getting the people because they're getting more money on the unemployment or the food stamps and all of that than they are going to work. They didn't want to go to work. They're getting a subsidized housing or they're getting a moratorium from the cities and the rent is being paid for a year and da 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 da. Why? They're not going.
vicious cycle,
It
vicious
really is.
cycle."
It really is. That is crazy.
And I heard about that too. Like you have to work. Like there are people who are trying to get these aids, or who have aids, but they can't. Now you have to have a job, from my understanding. So they'll get a job, a part time, here and there, and work a few hours, and then they'll turn right back around, leave the job, and then find another one and come back. So it's like I'm only doing it so I can continue to get the aid that I've been
That's
getting.
right. Because it take them 3 or so months to catch up with the fact that you're no longer working. You have what you want by then. Or you take the job, work only for the training, and quit after training.
Yep.
Because you got paid training.
Man, hate the player, don't hate the game.
I know a girl right now works 3 full-time jobs. Well, she worked 3 full-time trainings. So when the training is over,
She gone. Wow.
She gonna have to be gone from at least two. You can't work three full-time jobs.
you working at home, why not? It
You
depends on what
can.
type of work you're
Yeah.
doing. If
That's
you're not on
correct.
the phone and you're doing an analyst position or any of that, you doing that work 15, 20 minutes over here, you 15, 20 minutes over there. Nobody knows you have two jobs. You just didn't tell neither company you work in two jobs. She literally works two jobs and she trained on two at all times and
Oh,
making it work. So
There
wow.
if
was a story
you the
about that
computer,
during
they send you the computer, you doing both.
there was a
Wow.
story about that during COVID. The young man had like 4 or 5 remote jobs, but he
Hmm.
was getting the job done. So people were hating, but they were they all of the people he worked for were impressed by the work that he was turning out. He got the job done, and I mean, he's willing to do the work. What can you say?
You could do it because the position don't say I have to be on the phone constantly. You
Right.
just have to get those people work done.
Hmm.
So if I'm managing so much time on this job and so much time on this job, if I do enough work right here to get me through this hour, I go over here and do the next 30 minutes over here. I come right back over here and see, and because I asked, how the world do you do that? and not making small change.
Right.
60, 70, $80,000 a year, and she playing with two companies at all times
Man,
Wow.
that's what
and
see
doing
Tatum. That's what COVID did. It opened up
Yeah,
opportunities,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it. She figured
but
out
at the
how
Yeah.
to
same
use
time,
that system. I would have never thought of that, but she figured out how to use that system, and she literally works both with a small baby at home and doing it all. And I was like, oh my gosh, you doing something. And I'd be like, how do you do that? Oh no, it works. I was like, yeah, not for normal people. That doesn't work.
But I guess the remote working remotely, where unless you have a computer that's actually timing your keystrokes or something like that, I guess that would be
Because she
yeah,
do
kind
ambulance
of
work, so there's
normal.
no timing in that. As
right?
long as you hit that keyboard a few times to let them know something happening to it, that's all they're looking for.
Yeah.
And you
So
getting the
just
task done. I think that's the biggest thing. You getting the task
But
done.
she's
You
doing
doing
the
it
work.
efficiently,
Yeah,
effectively.
doing the work.
You
Yeah.
getting the
Yeah,
work done.
she like you
Now
said with the other guy,
question,
she's doing the work.
the question I
so
have
Nobody's
for
looking
Auntie
at her.
V.
Hold
Huh?
on, Miss Tatum.
no, I was just gonna say there's somebody that came up with a new product in it. So like a mouse shaker,
Yeah, I saw that.
your mouse, and for the companies that track your activity, it
Yep.
you just set your mouse on it and it moves it around, and you
Yep.
don't have to be there.
Yep.
So
You,
tracks your
you in the
work.
Walmart while your mouth shaking at the house.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Well,
You
somebody
know,
got rich off of that.
I got right now.
Lord, we will find a way here.
Oh man.
Until you say you at work and run into your boss at the store, then you got another issue. But
Nah, nah. Why he or why he or she is at the store? That's the good.
hey,
Right.
I
everybody in
see
the
you,
wrong
you
right
see
there.
me, we
Everybody in
fine.
the wrong. Yeah.
Right.
My thing is the taxes on all of those jobs on TV. You got 5 jobs.
That's where it's gonna
Literally,
catch up.
doing her taxes is a beast because she really have that many W-2s from jobs that she really have worked, but she
Yeah.
Wow.
maintained two of them. And she say when it runs short, when I think I need more money, I just go to training on that one, and training is over, I quit.
Wow.
Wow. My mind just doesn't think that way. I'm sorry.
Uh,
So first, it's too much time for me to keep up with all of that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I can't keep up with that much, and then
I'm
worry
trying to
about each
figure out
company
how
because each one of them is different. You know,
I'm trying to figure out how not to work the one job I do work.
me too. Trying to
Yeah.
figure out how to retire, and that ain't got in the books yet.
Oh my god.
Oh my Lord. That is just but I guess I mean it make a little bit of sense if you could do it. If
It
you
makes
I,
a
can
lot of sense.
I'm not mad at it. I am not
It
mad at
makes
it.
a
If you
lot of
can
sense.
do
The
it,
financial is replenishing that household. It makes a lot of sense if you can
yeah.
do it.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
not taxing on the body. Like people work 2, 3 jobs all the time where they are literally this place,
work.
that place, the other place,
Correct.
not
Yeah.
getting to sleep, whatever. But I mean, if you could work 2 jobs remotely, do you know how many naps I could take?
That's what she say when they tell her
No
it's time to
naps,
go to the
Lisa.
office. She quit the job because she don't want to go to the office. So she'll quit the job if they tell her it's time we're gonna migrate you into the office. Nope, she quits.
Yeah,
I
and
think a
because
lot of
they
people are
had that
doing that.
option.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had the option. So, and that's another reason why I think it's hard to hire now because people have the option. Oh, you're not going to treat me right. You're not going. Okay, no problem. That you used to get the 2 weeks notice. You be lucky
You
to
get
get
a
a 2 day
2 hour notice.
notice.
2 hour notice now. But you also got to look at it. Companies aren't loyal anymore, so people aren't loyal to
Yeah,
companies.
yeah,
Mm.
Companies aren't not loyal to you like they used to be. And now people are just not loyal to companies. So it took a reverse. And I think COVID brought a lot of that in for us. And it
yeah,
brought a lot of people to understand that they can do something different
yeah,
other
Mhm.
than what they have been doing. It gave them a choice to make a
Mm-hmm.
career change. It gave them a choice to look at life a lot differently because we didn't know whether we was going to survive COVID anyway. So it gave us a choice to say, hey, this was my dream that I've been thinking about for 10 years, but I've been scared to jump out on there. COVID said jump, and most people did.
Mhm.
That's
And
very true.
high,
Yeah,
very high.
and they're successful at their jump
Yeah,
too.
very, very, very.
Because
Mm-hmm.
to
You
me,
know,
COVID was the time that if you were going to try something new, that was the time I thought you should have did it.
yeah. Yeah. I
Absolutely.
often wonder how it's gonna work in the long run, though, because we have a lot of people now who are used to remote work, work from home, and there isn't necessarily the same opportunities to see how things happen, to learn about negotiating things with other professionals. And so we got some really, really smart people out there doing some really good work, but their social skills, their
Yep.
business professional skills are a little on the rusty side.
Yo,
Not even rusty. They're just not developed. They're not.
non-existent.
Yeah. So I always encourage like students that I work with, seek out a mentor
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and talk to them and let them help guide you and things like that, because just out on their own you can't always just have it the way you want it, the way you want it, when you want it. And those other skills, those opportunities to look at people, to experience board meetings and things like that, and how you present to certain groups of people just doesn't happen as like it used to. So
Mm-hmm.
It's building those relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
right.
and there's a sense of you can do it online, but it's different when it's face to face, and
Hmm.
you get a chance to really connect with that person, with
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
that company. But it's harder and harder. The younger generation, and I can't just say millennials because now there's what alpha
No, millennials are what, 30 now?
30 now, correct. They
Mm-hmm.
were 30 now. So they kind of okay, it's the ones behind them. So the millennials already had that an issue. Now the
Mm-hmm.
ones behind them, it's going to be even harder for
Gen
them.
Hmm.
Z.
Gen Z, and there's
Mm-hmm.
another one, Alpha. I forgot what it's called, but Alpha something. I They're definitely going to need some mentorship, some guidance,
Well,
because all of that is not even being taught in the schools anymore.
yeah. But even just think about what isolation does to a
Mhm.
person. And we don't really think about it. We just, it's like, oh, I'm a loner or, whatever, or I'm introverted and, you know, or if I'm extroverted, now I've been in isolation, maybe I learned how to be introverted,
Yep.
that sort of thing. So we don't really think about when you do have, let's say you go to a concert, you ain't been around people.
Yep.
Somebody bump into you, you liable to blow up, you know, like because you ain't been around folks.
Yeah.
I got
So
a
it's,
question.
it's this
How
whole this
hard
whole
do you
dynamic
think?
of COVID has been very, very, very interesting.
Yeah. How hard do you think the virtual working at home and not being out is on the mental status? How hard do you think is affecting the mental status of a person when it
Oh,
comes to
that's
how
a
they
good
react, like
question.
how they react to things, or if they had to go back into the workforce, how hard do you think that would be on a person mentally?
I think it depends on the person, but Miss Tatum, what you got?
I'm with you. It depends on the person, and I think the age of the person makes a big difference too. I find that younger adults are a little more resilient, but
Mhm.
not the very young, like high school. They just they really struggled, with COVID and being at home, not in school, not having those groups and that really, really left a big impact on them, and it was not one. I think our adults suffered more also. I think some of the individuals in their later 20s, 30s, and 40s probably did okay and were a lot more resilient. But the younger and the olders, I think, certainly had a much more detrimental impact on them because
And I,
it was scary. Like, is it safe? For the older adults, and the younger ones just didn't know what to do. I mean, it's like, I didn't get graduation, I didn't get prom, I didn't get to go to college for the first 2 years, and now you're gonna throw me out in the middle of the world. What am I doing?
yeah.
And they've been at home in mom's basement. It's just, that was tough. That was really tough. And then their life revolved around social media, which is not kind. It is
Correct.
not kind.
To me, that was the big difference, was the social media side. Because if you think about latchkey kids, which I was one of them, you got your key, go home, stay home, stay quiet, don't let nobody in the house, and you fine, right?
You get your work done.
Right. This new era with the social media, with the extracurricular stuff that they use online and gaming and all of that, I think they kind of phase into a whole different world. So it's harder for them to come back out into the reality or the real world, right? So
and then we put them in that virtual environment where there are a ton of predators.
Yes.
I mean, they took advantage of kids. I mean, that was tough. That was really tough.
Yeah, but they do. You learn. It's so many things that we learn through doing life, and so when you don't get to do life, it's so many things that you don't learn. Like, your brain is a muscle that needs to be exercised. And the things that we did, like, we used to have to remember phone numbers and this and that and the other. They don't have to do that. So parts of their brain just kind of,
Well, I do think
if I lose my phone,
not the same kind of exercise that ours did, whatever. So it's really interesting. It's like, if it's not right here, they can't find it.
But I do think they have accessed another part of the mind because of that, right? So it's to me, it's a give and take, because they can do things that we're not even, like we just talked about. You working 4 or 5 jobs in front of a computer, right? Because you're able to look at this and that and get, not just work the job, but do a good job at it.
Yeah, sure.
So it's like, okay, I lost 1, but I got 5.
Yeah, but when that system crashed, they're gonna be in trouble. You can't count money if the machine don't tell you what to give me back.
It's a problem. I think I told y'all that. I asked the girl, she asked me for my email address, and I told her it's AOL. And she said, "How you spell that?" I said, hold up. I said it's AOL. Oh, like,
you were dating yourself, huh?
Yeah.
That's funny.
So she was getting trained, and the manager had to literally walk her through every single step. And I was like, "Oh, baby, I'm wishing you the best, but if the manager wasn't there, it's like, what?" I'm hoping she still got the job. Let's put it that way. Because if the manager walked away, everybody's backed up again. So she had to come up. How you change this money? Okay, if they give you this, you're gonna give them that, because the machine was down.
I tell you,
had to reboot the system.
I'm telling you.
So she couldn't do it the manual way. Can't say old fashioned, right? The manual way. She had an issue because the computer was not giving her the answer. So it's a different world.
And that's what they're not just used to that from the computer. They're used to that from authority. So mama always provided it. So when they come to college, it's like, you supposed to spoon feed them and tell them everything. You can say, go and do such and such. Well, how do I do it? Where do I go?
Yep.
And who? Like, I just told you, but it's like, you got to get them every little, or do it for them. You got parents that still, It's not what we were supposed to be talking about today. How did we
But
get
you
here?
know what? I need to get to this one because this is gonna go right back to the taxes. So, Auntie V, do you think that with the AI, the push of AI, will it take away your job?
It can, yeah. Because honestly, if it was up to the former president, I wouldn't have a job anyway. Because that's
Mm,
what he was gearing to do anyway. When he wanted taxes to be done for everybody on a postcard, which means we were all going to get the same benefit, contrary to whether we worked or sat home and got welfare. We were going to be an equal anyway, contrary. So our job was already on the line a few years back anyway. And if you were not a large chain, you were
right.
not supposed to be able to stay open. The only thing that made me a little bit differently is some of the other credentials I have that they can't take away and a machine cannot do. And that was one of the only things that did hold me a little steadfast, but it still was a rocky road. It was not a safe place to be in at that time anyway. And then when the postcard did not work or were not allowed to work for everybody, because when we went to class, my argument was, why should the lady who gets welfare and food stamps reap the same benefit as that person who go out and work 80 hours a week?
Mm-hmm.
Why should that be equal? That shouldn't be equal. Somebody's taking a sacrifice by getting up, going in their car,
Right.
driving to work, dealing with the public, the mass shootings at these jobs. Somebody is taking a risk, and somebody get to stay home in their pajamas and get the same tax refund I get. That wasn't fair.
So it
So
would be okay if we got the same tax refund as the million and the billionaires, but they weren't
but
going
you
to give us
weren't gonna
that
get
back.
that one.
You're not gonna get that.
And you weren't gonna
We
get
weren't
that
going to get
one.
that. But
No.
I
You weren't
mean,
gonna
you're
get
right.
that one now.
You're
No,
absolutely right. It was not
they
fair at
weren't
all.
gonna be taxed. Only you, the middle class, the lower class, where the taxation was going to come in at. They were going
Hmm.
to escape taxation anyway, the
Mm,
higher that income got. So they weren't on the postcard. They were still on paper. We was on the postcard, and that wasn't fair. So I was like, you can't tell me I can now, and which is what gave people the idea to stay home and reap the benefits, and that's what it really came from. They understood that I can stay home and get this. So how about I try this and see do it work for me? And it actually worked for a long time.
You know, the same kind of question to you, Miss Tatum, in terms of technology really taking over healthcare. Do you still need the human touch when now they're building machines and things to kind of take over some of the things that you do in the hospital, things that I mean, right now you could just if you need to make an appointment, you do that online. You need to see your doctor, you do that online. How does that COVID kind of pushed us into a whole new
Hmm.
era or a whole new dimension? So how does that affect the healthcare?
It's going to have a major impact in the next decade.
Mhm.
Already they're using AI to come up with new pharmaceutical agents, particularly to look at some that aren't that the pharmaceutical companies won't look at right now because it's not profitable. There may be a
Mhm.
disease that only 100,000 people get, and so that's not enough for them to put into R&D to find something that'll work because they're not going to sell enough of it once they've produced it to make it profitable. So, I mean, it's going to change that a lot. It's already being used to assist providers in
Yeah.
decision making as they're seeing patients. So, I don't yet see the time when we can get rid of physicians and nurses, but the job itself is going to change a lot because somehow, and AI is only as good as you train it.
Right.
And we already had the issues with the facial recognition and everything on how it didn't do well with minorities and Black individuals. So a lot of depend on how well we really go after this and whether it works for, minorities or not. Are there enough cases that it's trained on and learned on to know that this may present different in me than in your typical majority white individual of a certain age. So I think for a while, you're not going to see doctors and nurses out of jobs yet. Yeah. But I mean, we've had robotic surgery for years now.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. We've had it, but they're just getting more and more sophisticated. Like
yes.
you
and in
see
some
this
respects,
on
I like it. In some respects, I like it because it can be a fail-safe too. It's like, hey, doctor, you forgot XYZ.
True. That's true.
But it's gonna make a drastic change to the face of healthcare.
I was watching the Dr. Death series. I don't know if you saw that.
No.
Oh Lord. The things that they were doing, doctors who you trust. You go to these people and you trust them and you say, yeah, I'm coming in. And you had some doctors who said, hey, you got cancer. The people didn't have cancer. Some doctors who said, hey, you need a back surgery, and they would do the surgery. The person never needed a back surgery.
Oh, wow.
Or they would do the surgery and botch the surgery. That's one guy, he botched so many surgeries. They finally caught up with him. And he's now serving time. But how many lives did
he need to serve time, definitely.
So it's like, okay, I agree with you with the fail safe. If we're teaching the bot to do and be the best at the craft because it's learning, then that is a fail safe. Because there are people out here who are unethical.
There are people out here who are unlicensed, still doing stuff.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, Miami is a hotbed. Okay,
but I mean, if you training the machine, you could train the machine to be unethical.
I don't know if you could train the machine to be unethical, because a machine is going to do what you tell it to do. So it's not going to say, the machine is not going to say, okay, because you didn't pay me, you're not, or because you're a certain color, or because you're a certain age, it's not going to take advantage.
It can be programmed.
But look at it this way. You're right, Lisa, in a lot of respects.
It can be programmed. You got algorithms. Come on. How do loans know? Loans, all of this stuff. It's programs in there that tell what ethnicity you are. I'm sorry, France, it is. They're programmed in that way.
France,
okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Tatum.
I was going to say, use this as an example. For years and years and years, probably 4 or 5 decades, we've been prescribing individuals with diabetes metformin. Okay, it is a classic, old line drug. There are some new drugs that work. Metformin is still being used. I'm not saying it's a bad drug, but it is relatively inexpensive, and it's been automatically prescribed to Black people in general without question. My sister had a diabetic crisis. The endocrinologist who met with her hadn't even looked at her chart. Oh, well, these are the meds I'm going to put you on.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, wait up. You don't even know me. You haven't talked to me. You haven't even said hello. How do you know what you're going to give me? And so if we are training, if AI is being trained on looking past practices, past prescribing practices, it's going to learn. It's going to say, oh, this profession, this is what they, whether something better or newer might be more effective. So
I was thinking more along the lines of a surgery.
You got to be really careful.
You're right on that. I agree with you on that. We got to be careful.
Thank you, friends.
Yeah.
So when you said, Ms. Tatum, about facial recognition, when you just said about facial recognition, Auntie V came on here and told us, and that's what's the process right now for you to go through your taxes. You got to show your facial. I can't. You can't make this stuff up. You can't. So, Auntie V, if you
And you're
don't
right.
recognize me,
So it is geared to do a couple of things, and not only is that one part of it.
right?
Us who have other certifications, it got a lot deeper when it came to every system I had, every certification I had to redo for this year. My Social Security Administration, I had to redo. When I submit W-2s to the fire site, I had to redo. When I submit 1099s to that system, I had to redo everything. So I feel like AI is a part of that? I do, because every certification I have, I actually had to redo. And then they gave us one username and password for three different governmental agencies that will use the same thing.
Mm,
Mm.
So do I think that's good? No.
yeah,
But does it make them getting to you a lot easier? Yes, because you got one sign on for Social Security, unemployment, and the internal revenue is the same username and password.
mm,
Because I have credentials in all those areas, all I have to do is sign into any one and click on the next man I want and keep working.
right.
It's easy for me because it's an easy work, but is it safe in my mind? No, because when you get that information, you got everything.
Yeah.
You didn't give me a choice to change him. You gave me one for three people. And those are the three main factors that they use. So why do we tie those together? So yeah, you got a picture because they say identity theft was so prevalent. So when people get ready to steal your identity now, when they ask you to send that ID, and if that ID do not match what's on file, now the police know who to go after. They say. Now
Mm.
will they go after them? Hell, I don't know.
Yeah. Do you even have enough manpower to do it?
Right. So I don't know whether you would or you would not go after them. Is it helpful to me in some cases because when people don't know what they got, I can say, hey, log into your account. Let me see what's in there. It's helpful that way, and it's going to cut down a lot of fraud, and it's going to cut down a lot of filing the wrong thing and inconsistencies because now I do have a footprint. I do have something I can actually look at. That's if you want to create the account, because everybody don't want to. Is
Mhm.
it safe for you to do? Yes, it is because it's going to protect you in the end. You can't even apply for unemployment anymore without showing that ID.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
they're going to keep you from stealing someone's identity, filing under these kids' social when they are 14 and 15, and somebody
Mm,
took the information and filed in three different states, and they sit in my
Mhm.
office, mom crying because she don't know what happened.
yeah.
In some cases, they have to go all the way to the officials, the political officials, to even get resolution to that. So the IRS created a team that if it goes high enough up, they call over, somebody special works that case until it gets resolved. You police reports and all now have to be done because of this. So it is going to help, but how much? How much of a census when it comes to knowing everything about me when I was able to keep a little bit to myself? I'm no longer
Mm.
allowed.
But the other thing too is what Lisa said. You know, what if the system go down? What if somebody's able to crack it? And what if they're able to
Oh,
reprogram
yeah.
it and get into the now you got a whole nother
Again, and that's why I say I don't know how safe it is because if somebody cracks this system literally, you got everything on everybody because this is where everything is now housed at. You really got that. You got everybody's whole existence. So yeah,
mm,
I don't think putting everything together was a good idea, but I don't have any powers, so I just have to go along with what I have to do. But no, if you had asked a common person, we would not have wanted everything tied together.
yep.
Mhm.
Like I don't want my taxes and my medical records tied together. I wouldn't want, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want all this together. But this is
Yeah.
where it's going. This is where you're gonna end up at. And it's all going to tie together. Anything government is going to tie together. The
I'm
phone
telling
line
you,
is
it's
going to be fixed.
technology.
Yeah, it's going to tie together. We're going to be in a mess one way or the other.
And they say China's just sitting there waiting to get ready to do big cyber attacks on us. This is not
Wow.
good.
Mm, mm, mm.
That's why I'm gonna have some money in the mattress.
You don't need it.
Yep.
You don't need no money in the mattress. You need a farm with some chickens.
You know, and
What you need? You talking about money?
yeah,
That money is not going to be worth nothing.
You don't need it.
somebody, it's gonna be a mom and a pop store somewhere that's still gonna take cash. I
Well,
promise.
a lot of places going back to taking cash. So we
I
was all
promise
starting
you,
to
They
it's gonna
are.
be
and a lot of
somebody
places
that's
now
gonna
is
take the
absolutely
cash.
taking you back to cash.
Yeah, they going
Like
straight back to cash, and you actually save when you
quick
use
soup,
cash.
if you
So
use
some of the
cash, you save
restaurants.
4% per order.
Yep.
So a lot of people going back to that. So we were they were getting away from it saying a dollar to dollar. Now people want that dollar back because they see the effect.
Yep.
Plus you see
Mhm.
how it costs you to use that merchant account. It
Yep.
costs you every time they swipe.
Yep.
Yep.
It
Mhm.
costs you a lot of money to do it.
Mhm.
So you're losing the majority of your revenue to
Mm-hmm.
someone else because you're paying that merchant account fee.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And
So
some
it's killing
places
the
are
business.
charging the customer.
That's
Oh
right.
yeah, they've been charging the customer. They'll say,
Yeah.
Oh, like
okay,
TV?
you pay the extra fee. We're not gonna
Yep.
pay it because we're losing revenue.
Yep.
Mhm.
They
So
That's
charge.
it
what's
made
on
me really start saying, okay, I need to keep a little cash on me because I literally went to get something to eat and I saw it again. If you pay cash, you pay a little less
It's like
than
four
if you use
percent
your
you're
card.
saving by paying cash again. So
And every penny count nowadays
it's
now.
gonna add up. Your total on the dollar gonna add up in a minute. I mean,
I'm
you have
trying.
another dollar.
Yeah.
They
So
sure
yeah,
do. So, Miss Tatum, where are we? What we doing? Are we just treating this COVID like the flu now? We
Pretty
get our
much.
shot and we be all right.
Pretty much. It is still here. It is never going to go away. So, and the federal government has made a point that they're going to move to an annual schedule for vaccine, and they'll
Mm,
tie it to whatever the most prevalent strains are that are circulating. So it'll be handled very much like the flu. At some point, they may consider combining them, but not right now just yet. But and we still have the seasonal spikes. You know, so we have about three, at least here in Florida, we have about three spikes a year. We are just coming down off of our spike for winter, um, with everybody visiting and celebrating the holidays and everything. So it's just starting to come down now because we've had quite a few cases. And I'll be honest, we've had a lot more flu this year also. Flu A has been really bad. So that's something else that's been going on. So the new vaccine they say is very good, and that it is actually for some people that do end up getting COVID, because the vaccine doesn't keep you from getting infected. It keeps you out of the hospital and everything. But they're
mm,
saying that some individuals, a number of individuals that have contracted COVID after the new vaccine have been haven't had any symptoms. They've been asymptomatic, which
mm.
is, kind of nice. If you're going to get it and you're not going to have symptoms, that, it doesn't, put you totally under the weather for a long period of time. So that was nice. But yeah, COVID's here to stay. Here to stay.
Which is,
So, what
I
is
have
the
a kind of
RSV?
relative.
Oh,
Hmm?
I have a relative. Sorry, Lisa. I have a relative that he called me last week and said, "Yeah, I got COVID." I said, "What? How you got
Uh-huh.
COVID? It's still here. It's not. It's not
It,
slowly going away."
no, we will never. It is so entrenched now. You're never going to see COVID go away. We are seeing more RSV this year, and I think for a number of years while we were kind of in the midst of COVID, we didn't see quite as much because people were masking. But we're seeing more of it now, and we're seeing biggest our biggest concerns are the very, very young. which
Mhm.
are infants and very small children, and then the elderly. They're the ones that suffer the most from it and have the highest rates of mortality. So it's another respiratory virus. It's transmitted the same way as COVID and the flu. Um, but we have a vaccine, which is available to the people 60 and over, and it's also available to infants, not infants, to small children and women that are pregnant, actually.
Mm.
So there, if pregnant women are getting the vaccine, then it actually provides that antibody coverage from antibodies, while they're still in the womb, which has been really good.
Should
So
we still wear a mask? Nowadays you walk around like sometimes I still put my mask on here and there, but it's like when I have it on, everybody else is like, "Why you got on a mask?" Should we still wear a
well,
mask?
I think it's up to each individual, but for me, I still wear one. Not
Mhm.
every day, all the time, but when I'm at work and I know we have a lot of traffic in there, or when I know we're coming back from winter break,
Mhm.
um, when I know I'm exposed to a whole lot of different individuals, or I'm in a room with a lot of people and it's kind of tight quarters, yeah, I'll pull a mask out in a heartbeat because,
Anytime I get on the plane, it's
yes,
just
I
you
still
see a
wear mine on the
faithful
plane.
few that still got a
Mhm.
mask
Yeah, and I think it's just for me, it's kind of called self-preservation.
on.
I
Mhm.
have other underlying health issues. I don't need to get COVID. I don't need to get the flu if I can help it. So it's for me, it's a tool I can use to help keep myself as healthy as possible. And so I keep masks all over the place. I have them in my bag. I have them at my desk. I have them in my car. So I think it's like I said, and I'm old enough at this point to not care what people think.
Yeah, listen,
So
I'm the same way. Like if I know it's a
yes,
whole lot of people and I'm gonna be, nah, you know what, this might be a good time for me to put
yeah.
my mask on.
Particularly if you notice that people that are coughing or sneezing, or
Oh
there's
yes,
something going on. It's like, oh yeah, let me put this on.
my mask and my Lysol in my office. Listen,
Yeah,
you could talk about me all day, but we keeping that office clean.
yeah. I think the the basics that we've always talked about,
Yeah.
good hand washing and cough protection. Those things are really good, and they help avoid infection or put it off as much as possible. And
Mhm.
there's nothing worse than somebody coughing or sneezing and then putting their hands on something, or yeah. So yeah, and I don't trust airplanes at all. So
Yeah, yeah. I still, and it's kind of funny because I remember the taking a flight during COVID, and everybody
Mhm.
has on a mask, and now
Mhm.
barely anybody. Now sometimes I'll catch the one or two of the stewardess. They'll have
Mhm.
a mask on because they're seeing so many people. I'm like, yeah, you should
Yeah.
have a mask because so many people are coming in and out of here.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
but the things that we used to do, the precautions, let me wipe everything down. I think people got a little bit lax.
I still do.
Yeah, we got
I still do.
lax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Everybody
But
come in,
it's
I still write down.
Yeah, microban, Lysol.
I
Yeah,
think
you
that's a great idea.
got them.
I wonder if we could have wrote those off on the taxes on TV.
Yeah, you got up everything. You understand.
That's a tax write-off.
It's going to depend on the profession you in, actually.
Yep.
And since you can't itemize most of since they keep raising the standard deduction, a lot of people can't itemize anymore. So you don't get to do all that. But depending on what type of job you have, and that's some of the things that, like some of the questions that I've gotten this year have just been crazy. And I think one of the main things is writing off stuff, what you can write off, whether I have a business or not, if I can write it off, and people just got to be aware of what stupidity they got in their brain because they know a lot of the stuff you cannot do, but they want to do
They didn't
anyway.
want to
It's
do
so
it anyways.
crazy.
Mhm.
Yep.
Or you just think it's gonna help you so much, and you know it's not, because somebody around the corner told you it was, and that's kind of like where we kind of went into a lot of stuff this year, and this is one of the years I've heard some of the weirdest, some of the craziest stuff, and you talk them off the ledge without calling them stupid. You talk them off the ledge, but some of them you call stupid, and you just let it go because they know from the beginning. But yeah, can I do my car payment? Well, you drive that every day for nothing else. Why you want to write the car? You know what I'm saying? So you got a lot of that. You don't have a business that equates you writing that car payment off. And even if you had a business, you can only do that car payment depending on what type of business you have anyway.
Mhm.
A dump truck, a semi truck,
Mhm.
that's for that. Yeah. But because I DoorDash a little bit here, 3 times a week, I can't take a whole car payment on that. But those are some of the things we got this year. And I think my main thing has really been this child tax credit thing. Everybody's saying, I can get, I can get, I can get. Well, if we understand what credit means, you have to qualify for that. When you go get that bank loan, you have to qualify, right?
Right.
It's the same thing.
Mhm.
You have to qualify for that credit. It is not a given to you because you
Mm.
choose. It's do you qualify for this? Do you meet these rules and regulations to say yes, you can have that? Well, I have children. I do too. What do I mean? You still don't necessarily qualify because you have kids. So
Yeah.
I try to tell people if you don't have enough income or you got $2,000 worth of income and you want to get the $2,000 child tax credit for all 5 of your kids, it doesn't work that way.
Mm.
You get the child tax credit based on the earned income you have. So you only going to get $3 per child because you only have $2,000 in income. So you don't get it all. Oh, it's $2,000. It is, but you don't qualify for the whole 2,000.
Right.
Qualify based on
Mhm.
the income. Most qualifications are $10,000 and above.
Mm.
People don't get that. You don't make at least 10,000. You're
Yeah.
not
You don't
qualified.
qualify. You don't qualify.
You're not, and if you qualify, you don't get that smaller amount
Yeah.
based on the income you actually have. So it's hard to get people to say that. Then they say, I see the sign on the street say I can get $3,000 a child, but nobody read the small print at the bottom say if you qualify.
Yes.
You had your job is just as hard as ours is working with students. The students they want to see and they don't read it all,
Yeah. Yeah.
or they don't bother to read any of it,
Any
and they
of it.
just
Have to
heard
read.
Because
something,
somebody's
and it's
supposed to
like, well, what
tell
do you
them the
mean? What do you
answer.
mean?
That's why they don't worry about it because somebody's supposed to tell them, and that's what they waiting on you to do. And then they come in here, and I'll be like, no, that's not how it go. We're gonna start you over from A. I'm gonna walk you to Z now, but you're
Hmm.
not gonna sit here. When you leave here, you're not walking out of here dumb. Not like you walked in here. We're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They
It's
usually,
funny.
but I'm
It,
be serious. You're not walking out dumb like you walked in here. We're not doing that. That's just
it's funny because when Lisa bought this show together and said, "Well, we're gonna have Miss Tatum and we're gonna have Auntie V," I'm like, "How do these two connect?" But they connect in so many ways.
It works. It works.
Like this
two
is a
different
great
industries, the
matchup.
same thing, dealing with the same problems and having
Yep.
the same issues. Just two different industries doing the same thing. And
Yep.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's gonna go across the board because how many nurses that sit in here? How many of these medical techs and stuff you deal with every day? And I do question people because I like to know what they really do and how the job goes, and because taxes is really an interview process. If you don't
Mhm.
do a good interview, you don't get good results. And
Yeah.
people say, well, you're being nosy. Well, okay, I need you to go somewhere else because I cannot put my credentials on the line for something I don't know. Like
Yeah.
she can't put her credentials on the line, but you not answering an honest question when she asks it. She needs that answer. So it's hard for them to
Mhm.
get that. I'm not asking because I care. I'm not asking because I'm being nosy. Because when you walk out of here, it's five more to walk in behind you, and I don't forgot what I did for you because I got to deal with them now. I don't have time to remember your stuff. But
This is like physical health and financial health.
Mhm.
Yep.
Like,
Exactly.
you know,
Those are
we're trying to stay healthy around here.
those are your important parts.
Yep.
You got to know,
Yeah.
and you got to deal with, like, somebody called here yesterday, say, can you walk me through TurboTax?
Mhm.
Yeah, hang up the phone. Why would you call the county office and say, can you walk me through it? I can walk you through it by hanging up this phone, because they're using that
Oh,
TurboTax. They're having issues. They're putting one the lady said, I put it in and I owe $9,000. I went to a tax office, I got 2,500 back. Well, because TurboTax was sued and the class action stuff went against them, now they actually putting in the advertisement limited services.
Mm.
They're finally telling you,
mm-hmm.
unless you pay for the upgrade, you don't get all these calculations that really come with a tax return. You do have
Now,
to pay for the
Yeah.
upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
on the health side, Miss Tatum, how many of these people going to get a class law action suit because of the things we found out that we didn't know when it comes to COVID? Because there's some
I
lawsuits
doubt
right
any.
now.
I don't know how. Well, let's just say, um, because it was a brand new virus
Mm,
in our environment, I doubt that there'll be a lot of traction there. Okay, because it didn't start out as being anything malicious or outright fraud or just
mhm,
bad information. Everybody provided the information based on the information they had available at that time.
mhm.
Um, Now, within the state of Florida, that might be a little different because we have some people sharing some information that is just not true.
Mm.
Like nobody should be taking the COVID vaccine. Um, yeah. So that, I mean, that might be a whole nother ball of wax, but I
Yeah.
don't see a lot of success with any lawsuits regarding if anybody followed basically the CDC guidance.
Mhm.
I don't see a lot. I don't see a lot of success in lawsuits there. At least not at this point in time.
Well, I
Mm.
just pray we don't hear in 20 years. If you took such and such and so and so, and y'all,
It's
if
just like
you
the
drunk,
TurboTax.
if
If
you
you
drunk
use
the water
TurboTax
and
for 20 years of such and such and
if
such,
you did such
you
and
are
such and so
entitled.
and so,
Yeah.
you may be entitled.
Look, I have friends that were in the Marines that trained at Camp Lejeune. Okay. I'm like, oh no.
Right there. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm
Yeah.
like,
So
y'all know how
it's
long it took me to take that vaccine. So
there's there,
I'm gonna be hot with all y'all. Not you, Auntie V, but them two right
But,
there.
but wait a minute, Lisa, wait. Even the Camp Lejeune thing, right? You do that application and you call that attorney, and I've seen this done. They want you to do the research and prove you had it. Why the heck did I hire you?
Wow.
So, so we're fighting something, or they're advertising something that they're really not doing the work for. If
Mm-hmm.
you cannot provide them the documents to prove you were there, or you had medical documentation to show you had it, they're not reaching out to get that for you. You got to get it, and you got to turn it into them for them to attempt to fight for you. And if you cannot prove enough for them, your case is over.
yep,
Wow.
So the
yep.
advertising, like, that's why she says she don't think a lot of it, because that's what's gonna happen. It's gonna fizzle
Mm,
right there.
mm.
You're not gonna be able to prove. And that Camp Lejeune
Mhm.
need to get off the TV, because all they doing is lying.
And the relaxers, the
That
hair
too.
relaxers,
And
That too.
stop using
Oh
it. Just
yeah.
stop
hair
using
Yeah.
it. I
relaxers.
mean, come on. They
It's the
tell
same
you
thing.
it's like cigarettes. You know
Mhm.
it's not good for
You
you.
know now
But that's
after
a
they got
different
sued, they had
ballgame.
to put it on the
You
label.
knew you knew tobacco was bad for you back in the day. So that
Yeah,
was
you
not the
did know
same.
tobacco
The
was
Johnson
bad.
and Johnson baby powder and all that. How the heck can I go back 30 years ago and prove that I used Johnson and Johnson baby powder?
Yeah.
You know we use Johnson. And see, that's the problem. You know, if you black, you use
You
Johnson and
use Johnson
Johnson.
Johnson.
Come on now. Just write the
How
check.
do I
Just cut the
know
check.
that made
I'm playing.
me?
You know he was at Camp Lejeune. He was there. He's in the arts. Cut the check. These people playing games. That's all.
That's
They're
all.
playing games.
That's
That's
all.
the bottom line.
That's
Man,
all.
cut
That's
the
all.
check.
Oh
Stop
my
playing.
goodness.
All of us had some baby
It don't
powder
work that easy
right
for
before
you.
Sunday morning church.
It don't work that easy for you because if you take me for example, I've had 10 operations
Mhm.
and none of those lawsuits worked. Not a one.
Mm.
Oh, you got this from that. Oh, you got the cancer from this. Oh, you got it. I got enough medical records to fill a building up. That's how many times I've been in a hospital. And none of that worked for a lawsuit.
Well, they protect themselves, especially when it comes to health. You know, when it comes to health, it's a whole
The
different.
lawsuit crooked who out here trying to get you to get into this and none of that junk works. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
But
it
I was
doesn't.
just, that's all I was telling you about the Dr. Death guy. I mean, it took him hurting. I can't even remember how many
A lot
people,
of people.
a lot of people before they said, no, this is malpractice, right? He does not know what he's doing. And it took another doctor to say, yeah, what he did, this is cruel.
And
This
they
is
won't tell on each other.
correct.
I,
And that's
I
that's
literally,
what
they
got
will
him.
not tell on each other. It's a rare
It,
case that they tell on each other.
it
I'm
was
telling you,
so
they will
bad
not
that
do
they had to tell on him.
it.
It was so bad that they said, "Nah, this is not the patient's fault. This is your fault." But there
Wow.
are
Yeah,
so many layers to protect.
that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
And I bet you they didn't take his license until after he was convicted either.
I believe
Yeah.
so. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they did, but they waited till there was a conviction before they took it.
yeah.
They 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 protect each other.
It's just like the blue line, what they call the blue line with the law enforcement,
Law
right?
Mm-hmm.
So
enforcement.
we're gonna have to protect. Yeah, we might have to look the other way, but it at some point. Let me stop because now we're going to the thing that we always go to. We got
Voting.
200 and something days left before it's time to vote. So y'all get y'all stuff together, get y'all minds right, and get this ballot together because it's just gonna be more of the same
It
until we
is.
put some policies and things in place to stop this mess.
Yeah.
It is. So, Auntie V, anything you need to catch us up on? Because France was just talking and talking and talking. And
Good going, friends. I like it. I like it. Y'all know what this credit is. These people who got these electric vehicles and think they can get this $7,500 back. If you do not have enough income to show earned income, again, you don't qualify. So all
Mm,
these seniors went out and bought these cars with the intent that they was going to get that $7,500 back. They're not because they don't have any earned income. They don't work. They're retired, and that retirement money don't qualify you to get that $7,500 back. So,
mm,
so that's one of the misconceptions that they have. That's big to them. And people, if you know you're not going to file on time, do the extension. Please do your own. Don't call us. But listen, an extension is not an extension to pay. It's only an extension to file your taxes by October 15th. If you have debt, you're still going to get the penalties and interest on that unpaid money when
mm,
you file in October because an extension do not cover your payment. It only covers your filing period
Mm,
only.
mm.
So it's an extension to file, not an extension to pay. If you know you owe, you better put some money with that extension when you send it in good faith and hope you put enough in there. But otherwise, they are going to give you that penalties and interest at the end of it, compounded daily, and you don't like that compound bill, so
woo,
you file on time and pay your money and let it go. But that's not what we're gonna do. We're gonna push that envelope to the end of the table, and they're gonna send you a bill, then you're mad. But yeah, that's what we're doing. But yeah, you gotta do the extension, and it's not just one kind. So you gotta go out there and figure out what kind you're supposed to do.
Mm.
Simply, if you are a regular 1040 filer, you can do a 4868. If you're a corporation, you can do a 7004. Those are the main two kinds that you can do that will cover you. If you're in a different country because you're doing combat zone and all that, those are different extensions. All that goes. If you're in a disaster area, you file, that's a different extension. So you gotta be able to know which one you're supposed to do, and
Mhm.
it's only one extension that covers payment, and most of us don't use that anyway. So that goes to the big companies, but normal us won't use that anyway. So you just got to be able to know which
Mhm.
one you're supposed to do. What question you got, friend? Your brain turning. I see it.
Nah, listen, you guys gave me enough to chew on tonight between you and Miss Tatum. Listen, I'm masking up, and I got my tax person ready. I just got to do my part, put my things on plate. Hey, I,
Yeah,
I,
my thing is
I
just
think the biggest thing is letting the professionals do the job,
yeah, just
right?
be
So
Yeah.
careful.
when it comes to COVID, okay, let me go to a professional and somebody I know who's going to give me the right information so that I can make the right decisions for myself, for my family, moving taxes, health, whatever it may be. Let me
Mhm.
go to somebody who that's what you do. I
Yeah.
know that you're going to have my best interests at heart. We've built a relationship going back to what we talked about earlier, right?
Yeah,
We built a relationship. I know I can depend on you. I know you're not going to do this maliciously to hurt me. I'm coming to you. I'm Auntie V. This is my taxes.
and explain things to you. You do want somebody to explain it to you so you can understand it. And if you can get a clear explanation, then you will pretty much feel better about what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Mhm.
Just doing your tax and say, here's what you got. You nobody should ever go to anybody to just do it and give it back to you. If they don't want to explain to you each line and why it's there, you shouldn't be there. You
Yeah.
really want to know, not so much of you being nosy, but it is your life.
Hmm.
So
I think it's the
you
same thing too
get to a bank,
with COVID. Like, let me go get this
you want to
test,
do it.
Miss Tatum, and can you explain to me what this means and how
Mhm.
this is going to affect me? So
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you do want to know because if you take that tax return to a bank and they ask you something about it and you can't answer them, you looking crazy. You should be able to explain that top to bottom.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. So one of the key things that Auntie V has said over and over is make sure you know what's on your tax return. And then this year, because I remember we talked a couple of weeks ago, you were saying that probably because of the way the laws are changing so rapidly, it may be advantageous for everybody to get their taxes done really by a professional
It
unless
is.
they're just
correct.
absolutely simple,
It is.
simple.
It is. Because
Mhm.
we're still under the old president, we're still under the former president rules and regulations until 2025. So when he was initially elected, he put laws in place for 8 years with the contingency that he will be reelected. So we're still fighting some of those things. We see a lot of it this year, and you're going to see even more drastic to you next year because your tax bracket is continually increasing, which means people are not paying the right amount of taxes and they're owing money, or you're getting $1, or you're getting nothing, or you're owing 4 and 5 thousand, but you never had to do that before
Mhm.
because you're in a different tax bracket and you don't understand. There's no more 6%. There's no 10%. There's a 12, 15, 24, 32, 36, and 37% based on your income. So we got to be mindful of that too. Plus, we got to be mindful of the W-4. When that changed 2, 3 years ago, this president again, the former, when it was how many dependents you have or how many people you want to claim, all that's gone away. Now it's how many dependents you have under the age of 16. Multiply that number by 2,000. How many you have over the age of 16. Multiply that number by 1,500 and put those numbers there. When you put those numbers on a W-4, you pay little to no taxes. So when you file your taxes, you owe a whole lot of money because what that form makes you say is that I gave it to you already in your paycheck.
Mm,
Mhm.
But it's a culture shock to people who's been getting money back.
yeah.
Well, they don't because of how they filled out that form. Stop reading them forms and just put some zeros some places and let it go because that's the only way you're gonna pay. And it's so many people that's having issues with that because they do have the dependents and they're multiplying and putting those numbers there. You making $75,000 a year, you pay $15 in taxes. What made you think when you looked at your check stub that that was okay? And now you want to cry? I got some tissue on the desk, but that's all I got for you.
You don't need the tissue. You need the voting ballot. Once again, once again, we always come back to it. We always come back.
We need the voting ballot, but we also need common sense. We need the ballot, but we also need common sense to be mindful of what we know is wrong as adults.
Yeah.
We know we're responsible to pay taxes. When you looked at that, you knew that was wrong. And then they sit here and say, well, I don't know why they did that. Yes, you do. You bought them new shoes, you bought that new purse.
It's the same thing. Auntie V. Instead of getting the ballot, they go and get the tissue. You should have been. You know you need to do this. You know you need to check, but you don't do it.
And you know it's happening to you. You just hope it work out for you in the end.
Right.
So you do nothing about it all year long, and then you want to cry when you got that $5,000 bill. And then people say, I need in 2 months. And you say, I don't have the money. Well, what did you do with it? You saved none of it. You spent it all. Yeah. So that's why when we don't look out for ourselves and be mindful, we know what we're doing wrong 99% of the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We do know that. So what are we going to do about that?
Yeah.
Other than the ballot, first we got to start with self. We got to fix us first.
Yeah.
And then we can fix the ballot.
Yeah.
If we vote right and still do wrong on the other side, we're still doing wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Listen, this has been Kitchen Talk CTC.
Conversations that cook.
I've been cooking up something. I'm trying to tell you.
Oh man.
Listen,
Fire.
if you are watching us on YouTube, I want you to hit the subscribe button and make sure you turn on your notifications so you will never miss another show. If you're watching us on Facebook, hit that like button, turn on those notifications. So when we pop up, you'll be able to see us and we'll be right there. You just be able to watch us whenever we come on, which is on Thursdays at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much, Tanya Tatum. Thank you, Auntie V. I guess I should really call you by your real name, Valencia Kane. Everybody walking around calling her Auntie V.
I don't think it matters. See, got people in the street calling me Auntie V. Hey, don't matter.
I love
it. Has been such a pleasure. Thank you all for coming and sharing what your knowledge with us. Thank you, friends, for hanging out with me. We've been rocking this thing for a minute, maybe 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, one of them.
2 minutes.
It's been a minute. So we will be right back here next week at 9 o'clock next Thursday. And we have another special guest coming to hang out with us. It is Dr. Tiffany Packard. Yep, Dr. Tiffany Packard. And we're going to get into this whole Black History Month discussion. So that's going to be interesting. So come hang out with us. And we're going to talk about the Black History Month, power to the people. And yeah, that's what we're going to do next week. So thank you, ladies, so much for joining us. And we will bring up to you next week. Yes? Okay, good. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye. Let's talk. What you want to talk about? Let's talk. What you want to talk about? Kitchen talk.